This week, look at the idea of a holon, Holon. And it's a beautiful concept with a lot of spiritual implications. And what it means is that if you look at something as a whole or you look at it as a part, it really both are contained within each other. So when you look at something at a very small scale, it's exactly replicated in a larger scale as well. And that's a beautiful spiritual concept, one that we would hold very true from Christian New Church theology in terms of our thoughts, in terms of our emotions, that everything carries everything, so to speak. So I want to read you a beautiful passage here from the book Secrets of Heaven, 2209, and it's talking about this story of Sarah. It's an ancient story of an ancient matriarch, and she's asking, like, well, am I going to have happiness in my old life? And am I going to have a child in my old life? Which she does have a child in her old life, and in her old years, I should say. And it's talking a bit about how, like, in our life, things are always being born, no matter how young we are, no matter how old we are. There's always something being born, and so much of that comes down to the things that are really, inscribed on our hearts, our deepest of loves. So it's a little bit of a tangent here, but I think you'll see it pretty quickly. Angels perceive more in a single human emotion, and in fact, a single human sigh that can never be expressed, that each of our emotions, and in fact, each of our individual thoughts holds an image of us within it, that this image miraculously holds every moment of our life within it, not to mention thousands and thousands of other considerations like these. So pay attention. It's interesting how one moment, we can take one moment, one thing, and our whole lives can be held in that. And that's where I think so much of moving forward spiritually, and I preached on this a couple of times. I preached on this down here in South Africa because I think it's real important, is are we going to go through life really just carrying a bunch of grudges? Or are we going to go through life carrying goodwill? And that whole goodwill versus grudge, really important way to kind of see a differentiator in life. And so coming at it, that's incredibly significant, because if I go through life, like, and every little thing I do carries that sense of grudge to it, you can hear some monkeys back there. Every single thing carries a grudge in it. We will definitely see that grudge just sort of start to take over our whole lives. And like anything we'll do, we'll sort of have that bad taste to it, that taste of grudge, that taste of resentment, that taste of this isn't fair, that taste of, name it, right? All those negative emotions that go along with that. And the sad part of that, folks, is that, when we get into that place, it's actually very alienating. People don't tend to really want to be around people a lot who are carrying a lot of grudges, who every time they see them, it's just a list of the different grudges of their lives, all the different, ways the world has wronged them. It's the victim mentality. It just does not work. It's not attractive. It's not what people find inspiring. It doesn't work. Just that simple. And yet, if we can shift that and instead really think towards going well, where every single event we do, again, a holon, where every single little thing we do somehow carries a little bit of that smell of goodwill to it, pretty soon our whole lives will become one of goodwill, and vice versa. Again, like the tiny little part becomes the whole becomes the tiny little part. We practice it in the details. We practice it in the macro as well, the macro and the micro weaving together. And that's a beautiful place to be in life, because that's a place where life really starts to take off. Just let your shoulders relax and think through that, right? If we wake up every morning with a set of our grudges, sure that life has done us wrong, we go forward and every action we take that day carries a little bit of that smell to it, it's going to be a bad day. If we go forward instead with that idea, our job today is to carry forward with goodwill as humbly and as best we can. Every little thing we do will carry that little scent of goodwill to it. That's what we want to do. It's not always easy. We don't do it perfectly. I don't pretend that it's a light switch that all of a sudden we can make this dramatic shift. That'd be magical thinking. I think we just want to just keep on practicing it little bit by little bit. And the beauty of this, friends, and from a spiritual growth perspective, is that it means that a lot of the time, the smaller the act can be, and easier in a certain way. But we just practice small little acts. And that really does impact the whole of our life. Like, it doesn't need to always be the big picture. If we just practice into the small picture, yeah, life will really come open for us in pretty miraculous ways. So that's the call today, folks, is think of life as a holon, Holon, big part, little part. And really try to get clear. What's the big part that I'm going to look at? Grudge or goodwill. How am I going to carry forth in my day? And then make that, hopefully choose goodwill. Make that goodwill into the smallest, tiniest parts of your life. Just regardless of the external circumstances. It's not going to save you from a lot of stuff. Life has hard, right? But it will give you a way to approach it in a very small way, in these small little ways that pretty soon will start to color your whole life. That's one of the beautiful, miraculous, hard to describe, hard to get language around parts of the spiritual life that can be pretty darn amazing. So there's the thought, friends. I hope that makes a lot of sense to you. And what we're going to do now is we shift gears here at New Church Live for 10 minutes of calm. When we shift gears, we look to go into a quieter place, to look into a place of more contemplation. We do that by doing a little meditation from the Old Testament. Then we do the Our Father prayer from the New Testament. Then we go back to the Old Testament for the Levitican blessing, and then we'll say goodbye. Please note that you may leave any comments you would like on our Facebook page. We will respond to those in due course. So, would love to hear what your comments are. Just we'll be doing them in written form because our time schedules are so far off down here in South Africa. So with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, wishing you all the very best. I hear a monkey jumping around in a tree right there. All the very best. Have a great day, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming